Hello, welcome back. I'm just gonna quickly do the spoiler tag. I was kindly tagged by Daniel Guilty Feet, probably back in March or possibly February, I don't know. It's been on my mind for a fair bit. And the tag was originally created by Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. It's a very interesting tag. I've learned a lot about your booktubers. And your reading habits. And we'll see how this goes. It'll probably be very quick for me. Okay, here are the prompts. Number one, what do you consider a spoiler? It's a spoiler is literally anything that spoils the reading experience. Essentially, it doesn't matter. It's for me, it's usually something that's the author and publicists have withheld, particularly withheld from the synopsis or any interviews they do, that you only find out when you read the book. But yeah, it's just anything that spoils the reading experience. Number two, does the genre you're reading impact what you consider to be a spoiler? I guess yes and no. If you're reading a historical novel, then you probably should know stuff that's going to happen because it's based in history. And yes, like there can be twists and stuff, but generally it's kind of keeps with the known facts. Something like a mystery, you prefer not to know who does it, but it doesn't actually really bother me that much. I tend to read a lot of crime novels that have been made into movies that I love, and I've watched the movies before, and so it doesn't really bother me, and sometimes I just forget anyway. Even if I knew, I forget who did it before I read it. And I find if a crime mystery novel if the only enjoyment is finding out who did it at the end, it's not a very good novel. There's a lot more to crime and mystery than just the whodunit aspect. And as for non-fiction, it's kind of no spoilers in non-fiction really. Most non-fiction I read kind of outlays, like at the start, it outlays its intentions and what it hopes to find and what it hopes to explain, and so there's no spoilers in the non-fiction I read. Number three, all the best bits are in the trailer. Sometimes the synopsis can be too detailed. Do you research books prior to reading them, or do you go in blind? I generally research if, unless it's just like a crime mystery. I'll read any crime mystery, spy fiction kind of thing. That I'll just buy. I'll randomly buy. Especially if it's from a certain era, I'll just want to read everything I can get my hands on. Otherwise, if it's general fiction or non-fiction, I will generally read a lot of reviews, or at least read a couple of reviews from the people I trust the most, or I'll have a recommendation. And usually recommendations come with a little bit of kind of insider knowledge. The only exception to that is maybe some non-fiction. If it's just on a subject that I find absolutely fascinating, then I'll just want to buy it regardless if it's actually any good, just because the subject matter generally makes it fascinating. I like to read widely on things that fascinate me, but I generally do read a lot of reviews, and I will read synopsis too. Sometimes the introduction translators notes can spoil the ending, especially for classics. Has this ever happened to you? Probably yes, but if you are sensitive about spoilers, don't read introductions to reprints of classics. Like your Penguin classics, don't read the introduction if you don't want to know what happens. Just skip to the start, read the introduction at the end. As I find less so in the translators, but the translators might explain. Translators might explain why they use certain words, and I guess the uses of certain words, and then providing the context can be a bit of a spoiler. So I would generally avoid that too. Generally, if you are sensitive to spoilers, don't read anything in the book that isn't the actual piece of work that was originally published until you've read it, and then you can go back and read it. That's generally the rule of thumb. Number 5, name a time someone spoiled a novel for you. I don't think anyone spoiled a novel for me. I don't really care. I mean, one of my favorite books is Planet of the Apes, and I've seen the movie like a million times. And the movie is one of the most famous, iconic endings. And it's very spoiler if you know the ending. And the book has kind of a similar. It's done differently, but the kind of the main gist of the spoiler is still the same, even if it's done in a much more literary way. But it didn't spoil the book, and it's a great book. I mean, the movie's iconic. The main love of the book is because of the movie. The book's still good. It's very different, but it's good. But yeah, I'm just not easily. I don't really. The only times books have been spoiled for me, I guess, is when the author wrote them. Yes, the fact that they just wrote them in the first place can be a spoiler. But yeah, you can tell me anything about a book, I'll still read it. I'll still enjoy it. Have you ever spoiled a novel for somebody else? Most probably. Now that I know how sensitive some people are to spoilers, I probably have inadvertently spoiled something for somebody, and I try not to go into plots too much. I tend to just talk about a book. I talk about my reactions to the book. But yeah, I probably have spoiled something. I'm very sorry if I ever spoiled a book for you. Number 7 is spoilers ruin novels. Are there some authors or genres you can't reread? Nope. I can reread anything if I'm in the mood for it. There's books I won't reread because I didn't really enjoy them the first time, and I don't think reading them a second time will help. But there are times I've not enjoyed a book that I have gone and reread it and enjoyed it, and so it's not a blind rule. I definitely will reread stuff I haven't enjoyed the first time, and I'll reread stuff I have enjoyed and enjoy it, even if it's a mystery whodunit kind of thing. Like I said, if a book is solely based on the whodunit, then it's not that great a book, but I find that's very few and far. Most of the crime novels that I read have great dialogue or scenes, or like there's way more to enjoy. Or I mean, I read a lot of socially aware crime novels as well, and so it's much more than just the denouement. Way more. Number 8, when reviewing, are you spoiler free? Does this limit your ability to discuss? I don't really review. I just discuss my reactions to books, and I try not to divulge any information that would spoil stuff for people. But also, I would say I put the onus on the viewer. If I start talking about a book, or if anyone starts talking about a book and you are very sensitive to spoilers, just stop watching. Just stop watching. I really have a hard time, and it's usually in the comments field of usually, like Facebook and stuff. It's just like someone will mention something, and then it'll just be someone commenting in all caps, like, no spoilers. It's like, don't, like, as soon as you see the that someone's gonna talk about something you haven't seen or read that you don't want spoiled, just go away. just stop watching, stop reading until you've seen it or until you've read it, and then you come back, right? I think it's a bit different. Like if you're having a conversation and you just start kind of spoiling the book. I mean, I think that's a fair kind of like, oh, you just spoiled that for me, thanks a lot, kind of thing. I think that's a fair comment. That's a fair. But if it's something you have the ability to turn off, then yeah, like like in the conversation, you don't always have a, oh, sorry, I haven't seen that yet. Can you not talk about it? You don't always have that opportunity, but you do if you're watching a video. You can just stop and come back later, or if you're reading a post, you can just like stop reading, right? So yeah, it's quite easy to avoid. I mean, I grew up in an age where I used to have to tape live sporting events because I was doing other things at the time, and I would watch them back later, and I managed to avoid A, people talking about it, B, the media reporting on it, and yeah, and so it can be done quite easily. And I think that's it. I think number 9 is just the shout out. Tell us about 5 channels you enjoy and tag them. I will not do that. I think tags pretty much done the rounds, so pointless tagging people. And I'm not going to mention any channels because I find as soon as I mention a channel, they generally then disappear. So I don't want to hex anyone. And so, yeah. Hope you enjoyed this, and see you all soon.